Lieber Jens, herzlicher
Dear Jens, a very warm welcome again back to Berlin. Today we have two important topics to discuss, also with an eye to the upcoming NATO summit next week. The most important topic continues to be war in Ukraine. When you last came to see us in Berlin in January, we still had the hope that we might be able to somehow prevent the Russia attacking Ukraine. Unfortunately, we had to experience the Russian president rejecting any peaceful means at settlement, focusing solely on employing the use of force. He attacked his neighbor and started a terrible war. Day after day, Putin inflicts terrible suffering and death on the people in Ukraine, and he also inflicts suffering on his own people. The fate of the people in Ukraine is deeply moving us. This morning, the President of Ukraine, President Zelensky, spoke and used impressive words when he addressed the members of the German Bundestag, the German parliament. That is, he said, "We stand at the side of Ukraine. We stand at the side of the people in Ukraine. And we are deeply moved by the fate of Russians who are being sent off by their leadership into a senseless war. And I believe it to be important that what happens to these young people is being made known in Russia too, because everyone in Russia has to know that only President Putin bears the sole responsibility for the death and the injuries inflicted upon these young people. Thus, we have to do whatever we can in order to silence the weapons. And we continue to stand at the side of these brave and courageous people in Ukraine who try to stand up to Russia's aggressions. We try to make available financial support, humanitarian aid, but we also provide military equipment. Germany is making its contribution here and will continue to do so. But I would also like to be very clear, and I would like to say that NATO will not intervene militarily in this war. The second topic, Jens, that we intend to talk about today is the consequences, the impact of the war on NATO. The alliance has to be prepared if it is to continue to provide for the security of all members of the alliance. This is the alliance's core heart, and we stand to this. No ifs, no buts. And this is true for all allies, as I have realized as I talked to my partners in NATO. We've already taken many a decision in the framework of NATO in order to stand energetically at the side of our friends in Ukraine. And in so doing, we impress upon everyone that we stand up for each other. Germany is making its contribution, and we continue to stand ready to do whatever is necessary. Yesterday, the members of the German cabinet decided to invest additional amounts in order to increase our defense and deterrence capabilities. This is an important contribution to further strengthening the alliance. Yesterday, we not only agreed on the budget for this year and agreed on the priorities of the budget, but we also focused on taking a decision on the special sum being made available for a strengthening of the federal armed forces. In so doing, we want to ensure that NATO is capable of fulfilling its duties and its mandate. The 100 million euros we will make available, which will be invested into expanding and developing our defense and deterrence capabilities. That is also an expression of our determination to respond to the changed situation. Of course, we will continue to discuss within NATO how we can strengthen NATO even further, as did our ministers of defense yesterday. Dear Jens, thank you for all you have done, for the work you're doing in the interest of our alliance, especially in these difficult days and weeks.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Scholz. Dear Olaf, it's great to be back in Berlin, and thank you for your warm welcome. I want to thank you for your leadership and your strong commitment to our alliance. It is important that we consult today, just a week before our extraordinary NATO summit in Brussels. Germany is at the heart of Europe and at the heart of our transatlantic alliance. Your leadership is even more important now at this defining moment for European security. President Putin's war against Ukraine has shattered peace and shocked the world. We pay tribute to the brave Ukrainian people and their armed forces. Their courage and determination are an inspiration to us all. And we continue to help them uphold their right to self-defense, enshrined in the UN Charter. I commend Germany for providing Ukraine with many different types of support, military, financial and humanitarian. And you have already welcomed more than 120,000 refugees to your country, demonstrating Germany's generosity and solidarity. NATO has a responsibility to prevent this conflict from escalating further. That would be even more dangerous and would cause more suffering, death and destruction. This is President Putin's war. He must stop the war, withdraw his forces and engage in diplomacy in good faith. I welcome your personal efforts, Chancellor Scholz, to find a diplomatic solution, including your direct contacts with President Putin. He is paying a high price. Severe sanctions are harming his war machine. And I thank Germany for the important role you are playing in enforcing international sanctions. Germany is also stepping up to help protect and defend all the NATO allies, with more troops in Lithuania, fighter jets in Romania and ships on patrol. This is part of NATO's swift, decisive and united response to this fundamentally changed security environment. With hundreds of thousands of allied forces on high alert and around 40,000 troops under direct NATO command, backed by major air and naval power. Yesterday, defense ministers started considering what we must do to reinforce our defense and deterrence for the longer term. This will require major increases to defense investment, and Germany is leading the way. Let me commend you for your political courage and determination to commit to investing more than 2% of GDP in defense starting this year. I also strongly welcome your government's decision to invest in fifth-generation aircraft. This is a historic turning point for European security, and we cannot take peace and security for granted. Europe and North America must continue to stand together in NATO to protect our peace, our freedom and our values. So Chancellor Scholz, dear Olaf, thank you once again. I look forward to our discussions.